This is a question that we often get. Hey, Mr. Smith, I got a new job. Should I adjust my W 4? What up? You got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And in this brief video, I want to talk about if you got a new job, should you adjust your W 4? I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. Most of them are, a little longer than this one would be because this is a simple answer. But I want to give a simple answer because a couple of people asked that question. And since people asked that question, that means multiple people probably had that same question. So I just want to do a video so I can not only serve the people who asked the question, but serve you as well because you were looking for the answer and you found this video. So with that being said, should you adjust your W-4 when you got a new job? Well, in most cases, when you first get your new job, you're filling out the W-4 anyway. Now things are shifting because a lot of things are going digital, and I hadn't applied for a job in a long time, so I don't know how it is in terms of adjusting the W-4. I work for me. I work for myself. So that being said, I'm not sure exactly if it's a part of your welcome packet in terms of the W-4 or if they connect you to it online. But typically it used to be where you would fill out the welcome form and you would adjust your W-4, just filling it out accordingly. And a lot of times they kind of brush over it and tell you just to put 1 or just put this 0 or whatever the case may be. Well, now that the W-4 is no longer dealing with numbers, 0, 1s, it's not dealing with allowances like that unless things change by the time you're watching this video. It's dealing with basically your monetary situation, and whether you're single, married, filing jointly, have kids, all of those are equated into monetary numbers, and then it determines on how much you should have to pay in when it comes to paying your taxes or what they withhold from your paycheck. Now, so when you get started with your job, if that's the case, then you just fill it out to the best of your ability. However, what I do recommend is that you get about 1 or 2 checks flowing in, because your first check might not be as accurate due to the fact it may be some type of waiver or prorate. It might be a prorated check, and you might not have fully did a full term. So if you get paid every 2 weeks, you might only work a week. You might only work a week and a half. You might only work a few days. So that's not a good enough gauge, in my opinion. So I would wait until a couple of checks come in, and now you're able to see at least one full check. When you're able to see one full check, you're able to know exactly about what you're going to be taxed every time you get paid a certain amount. And I won't get into details on whether or not that's a check your insurance comes out, or union dues, or if you got a pension at your job. I won't get into all that, 401k. I won't get into all of that. But once you have a full check, base it on that. Then you go to the IRS calculator online and you fill it out based on that check. Because what happens is it asks you specifically year to date, how much have you paid in taxes, and what was your amount paid from your most recent check. So you want to have that with you. Now, year to date, if you just got started, it's going to be a small number, but at least if you got that most recent check, it's a better gauge. And then when you go through and fill out that W-4 calculator accordingly, as long as it's basic, you should be able to fill it out with no problem. And then it gets you to the last page where you have the overview of what you just filled out, so you don't have any confusion. It pretty much thoroughly lets you know what to expect, what you owe, what kind of refund you will get. And depending on when you're watching this video, it has a slider that allows you to adjust and say, you know what, I want less taxes taken out so I can bring more in home, which is a strategy that we talk about that shows people how to take money that they would be paying in taxes in their paycheck and using their money to build wealth. So for the person who's looking to find out whether or not you should fill it out because you just got your job, sometimes it's a requirement in terms of just applying or getting accepted for the job. But at the same time, I recommend getting at least a full payment, full paycheck, so your numbers won't be skewed by the offset of you not having 4 days work for that particular pay period. I hope that makes sense. Congratulations on your job. Hopefully this video helps you understand if you should fill it out or not, and if so, when. And if you have multiple jobs, the same is true. So if you have multiple jobs, same rules apply. Don't overcomplicate it. But the main thing is, if you know that once you correct that W-4 and you're going to get an increase, I encourage you to do something special with that increase. So if you see they tax a certain amount, but when you adjust your W-4, they're going to tax $100 less, do something special with that $100. Typically, I would recommend doing something that can help solidify your financial future from a standpoint of setting aside for an emergency fund or building an investment or investing in yourself in something that can help take you to the next level. That's what I personally recommend. So hopefully that makes sense. That's all I got, Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, signing out.